At the start of the season, we talked about all the players breaking records, but the season hasn't slowed down in that department, so we've got to talk about some more records that are being shattered. The support lately has been amazing. I really appreciate it, but my stats are telling me that well over half of you guys that have been watching the videos lately still aren't subscribed. What are you doing? Smash that sub button. We've got a ton of content coming out, and if you like the video, smash the like button, and let's get into this. At the start of the year, it felt like all the rookie records that were being broken were by one player, that being LaMelo Ball. But as the season has gone on, he isn't the only rookie with their name in the record books. The #1 pick in the draft, Anthony Edwards, has had an interesting season. At the start of the year, it was probably hard not to be disappointed if you were a Timberwolves fan, not necessarily because of how he was playing, but just seeing the success of LaMelo had to burn a little. But as those burns have healed, I think we've seen that there's a lot to get excited about with Edwards. On the year, he's averaging 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 40% from the field and 33% from 3. Obviously, the box score numbers look great, but the efficiency hasn't really been there, but that's fine. This team sucks. They've got the worst record in the league, so there really isn't any pressure on Edwards to help this team get wins in the short term, which has allowed us to really look at Edwards for the player that he could be. I've said this over and over again in my videos, but we need to remember, Edwards wasn't efficient in college. He was drafted for his potential that has been on full display this year. We've also seen him break quite a few records so far. One that isn't necessarily a record since he isn't at the top of the list, but still worth mentioning with how impressive it was on March 18th against the Phoenix Suns when he led the Timberwolves to a win, going off for 42 points on 15 for 31 from the field. He became the 3rd youngest player to have a 40-point game, only trailing LeBron James, who did it at 19 years and 88 days old, Kevin Durant by just 25 days, who did it at 19 years and 200 days old. That's some pretty good company to be in. A record that he actually broke this year as he became the only teenager in NBA history to have 100 points in a 3-game stretch. He went off for 34 points against Portland, then 29 against the Lakers, and then 42 in the game we just mentioned. Edwards has had an up and down year, but at this point, it's just hard to imagine him not having a successful career. But for his sake, I hope he finds a way out of Minnesota, but hey, maybe A-Rod can turn everything around in this franchise. A rookie that's really been going off this year and deserves way more recognition is Sadiq Bay. He made a name for himself as one of the best 3-and-D players in the country as a sophomore at Villanova. He averaged 16 points, shooting 45% from 3 on almost 6 attempts a game. He was originally drafted by the Brooklyn Nets with the 19th pick, but was traded a day later in a 3-team deal that sent him to the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons' top pick Killian Hayes has really struggled so far, but the same could not be said for Bay. On the year, he's averaged 11 points, shooting 38% from 3 on over 6 attempts. There was a lot of conversation about teams going after him at the deadline, and it makes sense. For him to be this productive on both ends this early on in his career makes him a very intriguing piece going forward, and I don't think any team wanted to see his talents wasted in Detroit. These numbers don't even tell the full story, as he had a much smaller role at the beginning of the season, but eventually earned himself a starting position, and he hasn't let go of it. He's broken a pretty impressive record, as with this season not even being over, he has the most games with at least 6 3-pointers made as a rookie. He's done this 5 times this season, with the previous record being 4. He's on his way to contending for quite a few more 3-point records. He's already made 132 threes this season, and the current rookie record is currently held by Donovan Mitchell at 187. He's got 13 games left, and he needs 55 threes. Right now, he's averaging right around 2.5 threes a game, so he's projected as of right now to finish with a pretty similar number to the 3rd place Luka Doncic. But if this wasn't a shorter season, he'd actually have 22 games left, and he'd actually be on pace to beat the record, so take that with what you will. But regardless, Detroit doesn't have much to get excited about, but Bay is one of those few things. The last rookie I want to mention that's breaking records is Thunder 1st-round pick Poku. Not going to try to pronounce his whole name. Everyone calls him Poku. Now, he hasn't quite broken any NBA records, but I'll use any excuse to talk about him. Regardless of how the rest of his career pans out, he's managed to put his name in this franchise's record book. He just recently broke Serge Ibaka's franchise record for blocks in a game, as he blocked 6 shots against the Raptors. He holds the franchise record for the most threes in a game. When against the Charlotte Hornets, he hit 7 of his 11 3-point attempts, and just a few games later, against Dallas broke the franchise record for the youngest player with a 20-point performance. We just talked about the crazy run that Stephen Curry is on in the last video, but in context of breaking records, we've got to talk about him again. As we said in that last video, this has been one of the craziest runs we've literally ever seen. In the last 11 games, he's averaging 40 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, shooting 54% from the field and 50% from 3 on over 14 attempts. In this stretch, he broke Kobe Bryant's record for the most consecutive 30-point games for a player 33 years or older. He's currently on a streak of 11, and it's going to be interesting to see how long it lasts. We're in a different era. LeBron James is coming off leading the Lakers to an NBA title at 36 years old. Curry's on a stretch of averaging 40 points on an insane efficiency at 33. At this point, it's hard to imagine him slowing down anytime soon. Are we going to see a 40-year-old Curry still lighting up the league? I don't know, but I really wouldn't be that surprised at this point. With 72 three-pointers, he's broken the record for the most threes in a 10-game stretch. He broke the record for the most threes in a 3-game stretch with 29. Now, these ones aren't really that surprising at all. Practically every 3-point record you can think of has either been broken by Curry or will be broken by Curry when it's all said and done. This year, he surpassed Will Chamberlain to become the Warriors franchise leader in points, and he also surpassed Reggie Miller earlier in the season for the second most career 3-pointers. He's now made 2,755, with him having made over 253s this season alone. It's looking like he's going to become the all-time leader ahead of Ray Allen at some point in the middle of next season. Next, we've got a player that's broken quite a lot of records since coming into the league a year ago as the #1 pick in the draft, Zion Williamson. I think his season has gone underappreciated, most likely because of the historic second year we saw out of Luka Doncic just last season, but Zion this year has been averaging 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 62% from the field. Last month against the Lakers, Zion broke a record previously held by both Luka Doncic and LeBron James when he had his 21st game in a row with at least 20 points before his 21st birthday. Zion is on the brink of a lot of records this season with his crazy efficiency. For most of the year, he was actually on pace to beat the record for the best efficiency with at least 15 attempts a game, but he slipped a little bit. Right now, he's shooting just under 62% from 3, and the current record is 62.7. So it's definitely possible that he can get his efficiency up and break this record by the end of the season. Zion was also able to tie Shaquille O'Neal's record for the most consecutive games at 25 with at least 20 points, shooting 50% from the field. Now, I do have to say, for Zion's long-term outlook, we really don't want to see him breaking these kind of records. Weirdly, we probably want to see his efficiency go down, as that'd probably be a product of him expanding his game outside of just the paint. I really think that's coming, but at least it's great to see him manage to have this kind of volume living in the paint early in his career. These were the main records I wanted to highlight in the video, but there's some I just feel like mentioning. LeBron James has managed to break a weirdly impressive record, now having the longest streak with at least 10 points in a game. Fred VanVleet, a player that's definitely not been known for his efficiency, as he's hovered around 40% shooting for most of his career, funny enough, broke a record involving high efficiency. He now holds the record for the most efficient 50-point game in history. Against the Orlando Magic, he went off for 54 points, shooting 17 for 23 from the field, or 74%, 11 for 14 from 3, or 79%, and 9 for 9 from the line. This one is not really that surprising, as he's always been kind of a hot hand guy for most of his career. The last two are weirdly specific, but I thought they were pretty cool. We saw the most triple doubles in a single day be broken twice. On March 18th, James Harden, Domantas Sabonis, Draymond Green, Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook, and Nikola Jokic, for a total of 6 players, all had triple doubles on one night, breaking the record of 5 that was set, hear this, 4 days earlier. As you probably know, over the last decade, Kentucky has become the place to go for top recruits looking to go one and done. Well, due to that, there's been quite a lot of highly productive former Kentucky talent in the league, and collectively, they broke a record on February 2nd when De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Anthony Davis, Keldon Johnson, Devin Booker, Bam Adebayo, and Julius Randle all had at least 20 points, giving them the record for the most 20-point games by players from a single school in one night. Now this one was a little bit of a cherry pick, but I thought it was cool. But that's the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and peace.